Welcome to Setting the Stage. I'm Brooke Savage. Les Misérables is coming to the Dr. Phillips Center next week. Nick Cartell plays Jean Valjean, and he's here to tell us all about that, and he has some other news to share with us. Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
So first off, I always like to start off with, how did you get into acting?
So I got into acting by singing in choirs. I grew up in Arizona, and from a very early age, my parents knew that I had a talent for singing. I memorized all the cassette tapes in the car, and it just kind of took off from there. I auditioned and joined the Phoenix Boys Choir, which is where I got the fundamentals of how to sing. And I had been putting on plays for my family growing up. And then I went and saw Field Trip when I was in eighth grade. Of a production of Cinderella, a little touring kids production of Cinderella. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And ever since then, I have been doing that. And here we are now.
And what made you want to audition for Les Mis? Tell us how you landed such an iconic role.
So we have to go back to 2017. Les Mis is one of those shows that I remember seeing when it came on tour to Arizona. I saw it on Broadway. I've seen it many times growing up. And it's such an iconic musical, right? The show has been around for almost 40 years now. So it has staying power, that's for sure. And in 2017, I had a friend that had gone in for the production. And he said that they still hadn't found their Valjean and that they were starting the search over. So I immediately called my agent and I said, can we get in? Can we get me an audition? And the one audition led to another four after that. And I booked the role very end of June, beginning of July in 2017, and then launched the tour in September. I played that until 2019. I left right before the pandemic. My wife and I found out we were having a baby. And now here we are. I launched the tour again in September of 22, taking it out post-pandemic, and have been on the road ever since.
Wow, I love it. And talk to us about what it takes to play Jean Valjean. How do you get into your character's headspace? And, it's a very physical role, too. You have to do a lot.
It is. It's a very physically and vocally demanding show. And one of the things that I love that our directors gave us is, they really harkened back to the book, the character that Victor Hugo wrote about. And so at the beginning of the show, it's a very animalistic quality. He's been in prison for 19 years. So if you touch him, he's kind of like a wild animal. And, to get into that headspace every night, now that I've been doing it for as long as I have, it doesn't take me as long to get into that. As soon as that music starts and the weight of that overture starts, we're all on a ship and we're rowing together. It gives me that weight that is needed for Valjean at the beginning of the show. And then from there, I'm able to, build this character, the weight of having to be a mayor, being in charge of, a factory, and then the responsibility of them becoming a father. All of those things weigh on me. And so I'm able to take, things from my own life and bring those in, but also, just feeling the energy that it takes to do the show every night, but also touring the country. That takes a whole other energy, and packing a suitcase every week. But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Can you share some behind the scenes stuff with us? Because I'm sure, like you said, your character goes through a lot. There's a lot of makeup and costume changes going on, too.
Yes. So I actually wear four wigs throughout the show. I wear wigs the entire show, which does make my life a little easier backstage. But then it is quick costume changes. My first costume change, I'm a convict right at the start of the show, and then I become the mayor. And so I have a 2-minute and 30-second costume change that I have to do backstage, and it takes a very core group of individuals, including myself, to make sure that I make it back on stage in time to sing. And then it's lifting people, it's lifting carts, it's singing this epic musical for close to 3 hours every single night. And it is a very daunting task when you first start looking at it. But at the same time, there is a joy in getting to sing this material, the material that, Claude Michel Schomburg and Alain Boublil wrote, decades ago, that it still is able to be sung today with a full orchestra, and audiences are still clamoring to see it. It brings us a lot of joy.
Exactly. And I don't think people realize, honestly, all the choreography that goes on, not just on stage, but behind the stage. Like, you're doing a lot of stuff behind the stage, too.
Yes, I wish that we could sell tickets to what happens backstage for us, because it is another choreographed dance that is happening with sets being lifted into the air, sets moving out of the way so actors can get on stage. We're all about safety in the theater, but there is another show that is happening backstage.
That is incredible. And how do you, I know you touched on this a little bit, how do you relate to your character?
So I relate to Valjean in a way that, when I first took on this role in 2017, my Valjean, I was coming from a place of grief. Literally, the day before my final callback for this role, I lost my mom to ovarian cancer. She had been battling for 5 years. And, I went into that room with that weight, the weight of that grief on my shoulders. And I was able to use that as kind of a therapy. The show was kind of a therapy for me, to work through some of that grief. And also, when Valjean is sitting on the barricade about ready to sing Bring Him Home or the prayer, um, the sacrifices that my mom and my dad made for me to come and see me across the country when she was going through her chemo treatments, in other shows, I can think about those and the sacrifice that Valjean would make for his adoptive daughter. And now I am a father. And so it truly is having your heart outside your body when you see your child, and the sacrifices that I would make for her. I would go to the ends of the earth for her. And to know that that is how Valjean is feeling through the show. It really brings me some comfort to know that I'm in the right headspace. And also, just, I think that it gives my character, you know, a moment to really connect with an audience member that might be a parent. And even if they're not a parent, just the sacrifices that this character makes for so many individuals throughout the show, the way that he touches their lives to make their lives better, is something that I look forward to doing every single night.
Wow, that is incredible to hear, and a good reminder that, it seems as though acting can also be a way for you to release your emotions and lay it all out there.
That is true. If I'm having a very frustrated day, I can get a lot of anger out at the very beginning of the show during that prologue section, when Valjean is a wild animal. So it does make things a little easier by the end of the night.
Yeah. Okay, now to a fun question. If you could play
Yeah.
any other character in the show, who would it be and why?
I would want to play Javert. So Javert is kind of my nemesis, I guess you could say arch nemesis in the show. He's the inspector that is going after Valjean and is trying to catch him because obviously Valjean has broken his parole. I would want to play of the other side of Valjean, right? And so that is for me, that is Javert. I would love to be able to inhabit that character, to get an understanding of what is going on in his mind during the show as he's going after Valjean year after year after year.
That would be so cool if one night you guys could switch roles and get into each other's headspace.
We have talked about it. I don't think it's going to happen, but we have discussed it.
Yeah, okay. And so I'm very curious. The show has so many iconic songs. What is your favorite song? And also, what is your favorite part of the show?
So, my favorite song that I get to sing every night is "Bring Him Home." Getting to sit on that barricade. The show of Valjean is so sporadic, right? I don't stop moving for pretty much 3 hours. So to get to sit and sing one number that I'm just sitting on the barricade, it gives me a sense of stability. It gives me a moment to just relax. And also, while I'm singing this epic song that is so well known, has been recorded so many times over the years, and to get to do my version of that song every night, it it is one of those, it's the ice cream with the cherry on top for me. And then as far as my favorite moment in the show, oh gosh, I have to say, I think the end of Act One, One Day More, to hear that song with our cast on stage, with the orchestra, to feel that rush of energy. I'm getting goosebumps now talking about it. To feel that rush of energy, at the end of the act when that red flag goes up, and it is one of the best endings of Act One that has ever been written for the musical theater. And so to get to perform that every night and hear the roar of that audience during that blackout, oof, it's amazing.
I love to hear that. That is also definitely one of my favorite parts for sure. So talk
Yeah.
so talk to us a little bit about what your day-to-day life is like because your wife Christine is also an actor, right? And you mentioned how you have a little
Yep.
girl together. Are they on
Yep.
tour with you?
They are on tour with me full time. And I think that our day-to-day life is, getting up, making breakfast, having a cup of coffee, doing a quick little like lip trill, feeling how the voice is feeling in the day. I'll run to the gym. Christy will run to the gym. My wife will run to the gym. And then it's, doing the day-to-day things that we have to do to make sure that we are ready for the evening show, warming up, that sort of thing. And I think that Valjean can be all encompassing. It is one of the, because of what I do every night for 3 hours, I can carry a lot of that home with me sometimes. But I love the fact that when I wake up in the morning, I'm not Valjean. I'm just dad. I am, I'm daddy. can you make me breakfast? Can you, start an episode of Bluey for me? And I think that that also is one of those joys of getting to play a character like this because I'm actually get to be grounded. I get to be grounded in exactly what I am doing every night. And yet during the day, I get to live my life and be a dad and be a husband and continue to travel the country.
Exactly. And you also have some other news to tell us about. You have an album
Yes.
coming out next month. How have you been able to work that into your busy schedule?
So I took a vacation week from the barricade and I headed to Nashville and I recorded an album with Club 44 Records. And I am so excited for it to come out. My wife and I met at Disney. We actually met working for Tokyo Disney. And so it's got some Disney tunes on, it's got some musical theater tunes on it, it's got some jazz standards on it. And it also has my version of Bring 'em Home on it. And it is such a love letter of where I am in my life right now, where I hope to go in the future. And I cannot wait to bring it out. It comes out July 26th, which also happens to be my birthday. It's called A Thousand Spotlights. And I am just so excited for everyone to hear it. It truly has been a labor of love. And it has some beautiful orchestrations. And yeah, we're just excited to get it out there.
That does sound exciting. And you're also going to be doing a series of concerts, right, to promote that.
Yes.
So, how are you going to work
Yes.
that into your schedule?
Well, luckily the tour has a little bit of a layoff coming up. So we're off for the month of July. And so July 14th at 7 p.m. in New York City, I'm going to be doing my show, A Thousand Spotlights, which is going to be at 54 Below. And then on my birthday, July 26th and 27th, we're heading out to Arizona, which is home for me and where I grew up. And we're doing two concerts to celebrate the official album release. And that is going to be at the Kerr Center in Scottsdale. And so tickets are available now for all of those. And we're so excited. We've got some work to do, but we're ready. We are getting ready.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you'll stay busy for sure. Is there anything else you want to bring up?
Right now, I just hope that people will go. The album is available for pre-sale and pre-save now everywhere, and then it will officially be released on July 26th. So I hope you'll give it a listen. And if you are, we're so excited to get to Orlando. So we hope that you will come and visit the Barricade next week.
We're excited to have you. Again, you could see Nick at Les Mis next week at the Dr. Phillips Center in Orlando. I'll also post the details about his new album on clickorlando.com/setting the stage. Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today.